morning. Welcome to Chapter 7 Chemical Coordination in Plants. You have already studied about the various plant parts like roots, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits, and seeds. And you also must have seen that how a plant grows from a seedling and develops into a mature plant. You may wonder why trees continue to grow and develop continuously and increase in height or width over a period of time. Whereas the leaves, flowers, and fruits of the same tree not only have limited growth but also appear to fall periodically or repeatedly. Development of a plant comprises of the two processes, that is, growth and differentiation. And you must be wondering that as the plants also grow, they do also contain hormones or there are some external factors which regulate the growth in plants. In this chapter, we'll try to explore some of these factors which govern and control those developmental processes. Before that, let's understand the term growth and differentiation. Growth is defined as an irreversible permanent increase in size of an organ or its part or even of an individual cell. Growth is regarded as one of the most fundamental and conspicuous characteristics of a living being. In case of plants, however, growth is exceptional because they can grow throughout their life. Now try to recall the concept of meristematic tissue present in the plants. Meristematic tissues or meristems are composed of cells that are continuous state of development or division or capable of division and have high metabolic rate. It is present at the growing parts of a plant such as at the root tips and the stem apex and between the bark and wood of trees. Thus, these are also called as growth tissues. Differentiation is the process of maturation of cells to form particular cells which perform specific functions and is called differentiation. The meristematic cells of a plant differentiate and mature to perform specific functions. During differentiation, cells undergo some structural changes in their cell walls and protoplasm based on their functions. For example, cells which will form xylem elements will lose their protoplasm and develop strong and elastic cell walls to transport water. Development is the term that includes all changes that organism goes through during the life cycle from germination of the seed. So growth, differentiation and development are very closely related events in the life of a plant. Development is considered as the sum of growth and differentiation. It is under the control of various factors which can be categorized into two kinds, that is intrinsic factor and extrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor includes genetic and chemical factors, whereas extrinsic factor includes environmental factors such as light, temperature, water, oxygen and nutrition, etc. In this chapter, we'll learn about the chemical factors which regulate the growth and development of a plant. Chemical factors, hormones. Like animals, plants also produce hormones called plant hormones and they are also known as phytohormones. These are also called plant growth substances produced within the plant. However, unlike animals, plants lack endocrine gland that secretes hormones and instead each plant cell is capable of producing hormones. Characteristics of plant hormones. The plant hormones possess the following characteristics. The first, the hormones are produced in extremely low concentration. Phytohormones move through the plant's vascular system like xylem and phloem or by cytoplasmic streaming within the cells. The hormones are required in very low concentration by any plant to respond to any stimulus, whether external or internal. Functions of plant hormones. Phytohormones carry out diverse functions in a plant. Some of these functions are listed. Shape the plant and regulate various cellular processes in a plant. Determine the formation of various parts of a plant. Regulate the shedding of leaves and formation of new leaves. Development and ripening of fruit. Affect the seed growth. Control time of flowering and the sex of the flowers. Affect the directional growth of tissues. Decide plant longevity. Kinds of plant hormones. The phytohormones can be divided into 5 categories based on structure and function. So these are as follows: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, ethylene, abscisic acid. And these plant hormones are categorized further into 2 groups, that is plant growth promoters and plant growth inhibitors. They are based on whether their regulatory activities. Plant growth promoters. These hormones regulate the growth promoting activities of a plant, and these activities include cell division, cell enlargement, tropic growth, flowering, fruiting, and seed formation. And the examples of these hormones are auxins, gibberellins, and cytokinins. Plant growth inhibitors. These hormones control the various growth inhibiting activities such as dormancy and abscission. They also play an important role in plant responses to wounds and stresses of biotic and abiotic origin. The examples are abscisic acid and ethylene. Apart from these, various other plant hormones and growth regulators exist which may be present naturally or are synthesized by humans. Now let us study about the functions of each hormones in detail. Auxins. Auxin was first isolated by F. W. Wendt from the tips of coleoptiles, or the first leaf of a oat seedlings, and was first discovered by Charles Darwin. Auxins are found naturally and can also be synthesized artificially. The examples are as follows. Natural auxins which occur naturally in a plant are IAA, whose full form is indole 3-acetic acid, and IBA, that is indole butyric acid. Synthetic auxins are those which are synthesized by human beings, that is 2,4-dichlorophenoliacetic and naphthalene acetic acid. Auxins are generally produced by the growing apices of the stems and the roots, from where they migrate to the regions of their action. It can also be found in the seed, embryo, and young leaves. Functions of auxins. Auxins carry out following functions in plants. It stimulates elongation of cells. It helps to initiate rooting in stem cuttings. It promotes flowering, for example in pineapples. It helps to prevent fruit and leaf drop at early stages. It promotes the shedding of older mature leaves and fruits. It induces parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy means development of fruits without fertilization, for example in tomatoes. It's widely used as herbicides such as 2,4-D. It's widely used to kill dicotyledonous weeds, does not affect mature monocotyledonous plants. It controls xylem differentiation. It helps in cell division. It can delay ripening of fruits, and it can promote the production of other hormones. In conjugation with hormone cytokinins, they control the growth of stem, roots, and fruits. Apical dominance. In most of the higher plants, the growing apical bud, which contains auxins, inhibits the growth of the lateral axillary buds, and this phenomenon is called apical dominance. Therefore, if the shoot tips are removed, it usually results in the growth of lateral buds, and this phenomenon is widely applied in tea plantations and hedge making for dense growth. Gibberellins were first discovered by a Japanese plant pathologist, that is E. Kurosawa, in 1928. The active substance was later identified in 1934 by a chemist T. Yabuta and Y. Sumuki as gibberellic acid. Gibberellins are acidic in nature, and there are more than 100 gibberellins reported from widely different fungi and higher plants. They are denoted as GA1, GA2, GA3, and so on. Whereas gibberellic acid, that is GA3, was one of the first gibberellins to be discovered. The gibberellins are present in the meristems of apical buds and roots, young leaves, and embryo. Functions of gibberellins are: these hormones produce a wide range of physiological responses in the plants. These stimulate stem elongation and cause an increase in length of axis. For example, spraying sugarcane crop with gibberellin increases the length of the stem. As sugarcane stores carbohydrates as sugar in their stems, it can increase the yield by as much as 20 tons per acre. It causes fruits like apple to elongate and improve its shape. It can lead to development of seedless fruits. It can delay senescence in leaves and citrus fruits. Thus, the fruits can be left on the tree longer so as to extend the market life. It can end seed dormancy in plants which require light for germination, speed up the malting process in brewing industry. It hastens the maturity period, thus leading to early seed production. It also promotes bolting, that is, internode elongation, just before flowering in many plants. Cytokinins were first discovered in the endosperm of coconuts by Johannes van Overbeek in 1941. Naturally, cytokinins are synthesized in regions where rapid cell division occurs, for example, root apices, developing shoot buds, young fruits, etc. From here, they are transported to the other plant parts to regulate various functions. Various physiological functions carried out by cytokinin are as follows. It stimulates cell division and initiates shoot elongation. It promotes growth of lateral buds and helps to overcome apical dominance. It helps to produce new leaves. It enlarges leaf cells that stimulates leaf expansion. It enhances stomatal opening. It promotes synthesis of chlorophyll. It stimulates shoot initiation and bud formation in tissue culture. It promotes nutrient mobilization, which helps in the delay of senescence. Ethylene hormone was discovered by Cousins in 1910. He found that decaying oranges released a volatile substance that hastened the ripening of bananas kept with them. This volatile substance was identified as ethylene, which is a gaseous hormone. Ethylene is synthesized in large amounts by decaying tissues and ripening fruits. Ethylene hormones regulates various physiological activities of plants and leads to following effects. It causes horizontal growth of seedlings, it promotes senescence, which is called decaying, and abscission, which is called detachment of plant organs, especially leaves and flowers. It leads to fruit ripening, it enhances the respiration rate during ripening of the fruits, it breaks the seed and bud dormancy, it initiates germination in peanut seeds and sprouting of potato tubers. It promotes rapid internode petiole elongation in deep water rice plants. It promotes growth of the roots and the root hair formation, thus helping the plants to increase their absorption surface. It initiates flowering in mango. During mid of 1960, three independent researchers reported three different kinds of inhibitors in inhibitor B, inhibition 2 and dormin in the plants which regulated abscission and dormancy. They were named as abscisic acid, whose short form is capital A, capital B, capital A, ABA. Abscisic acid is found mostly near leaves, stems and unripe fruits. Through abscisic acids, that is ABA, it was discovered for its role in regulating abscission and dormancy. But it also has other wide-ranging effects on plant growth and development. These are as follows. It acts as a general plant growth inhibitor and an inhibitor of plant metabolism. It makes the plant tolerant to various kinds of stress, so it is also called as the stress hormone. It inhibits the seed germination. It stimulates closing of stomata in plants under the water stress. It inhibits the shoot growth. It induces the seeds for synthesizing storage of proteins. It plays an important role in seed development, maturation and dormancy. It helps seeds to withstand desiccation and other factors which are unfavorable for the growth. In some situation or in the most of the situations, abscisic acid acts as an antagonist to gibberellins. In plants, the control system is not as elaborate as in animals. They do not have any structures comparable to neurons. The movements in the plants are slow and are not as obvious as in animals. However, plants respond to light, touch, gravitational force, and other stimuli. The growth and movement in plants are regulated by both external and internal factors. The plants exhibit two kinds of movements in response to external stimuli, and these are the movement of plant part in the direction of stimulus is known as tropism or tropic movement. These are of following types depending upon the external stimuli. Geotropism is the movement of plant parts in response to the gravitational force. If the plant part moves in the direction of gravity, it is called positive geotropism, and if the plant part moves opposite or against the direction of gravity, it is called as negative geotropism. For example, the roots which grow downwards are positively geotropic, while the stem is negatively geotropic. Movement of plant parts is in the direction of light source. It is called phototropism. When a plant gets undirection, sorry, unidirectional light, it responds by bending towards the source of light, because of which it is also called as curvature movement. Thigmotropism is a movement produced in response to touch with an object. It is seen in tendrils that help the weak stems to climb. Thermotropism is a movement that occurs in plants in response to changes in temperatures. When the plant shows movement in response to water, it is called as hydrotropism. Chemotropism is the movement of plants in response to the chemical stimuli and are known as chemotropism. For example, the pollen tube moves through the style and reaches the ovules in the ovary under the influence of chemicals secreted by them. Nastic movements, like tropic movements, also takes place in response to an external stimulus, but here the response is not directional. Thus, the direction from which the stimulus is received is immaterial. For a few examples of nastic movements are as follows. The opening and closing of the flowers due to the change in light intensity is known as photonasty. Thermonasty. These are sleeping movements shown by many plants because of the change in temperature. Tugger movement or tugger pressure brings about movements as in Mimosa pudica. When this plant is touched, its leaves droop and leaflets fold up. This takes place in a fraction of a second because of the loss of tugger in these parts. If you observe the above movement carefully, you can see that a few of these movements help plants to grow further, while others have no relation with the plant growth. Based on this, the movements in plants can be divided into following two types. Growth dependent movements, and most of the tropic movements dependent on the direction of external stimuli help the plants to grow. For example, seed germination, stem elongation, flower formation, and growth of roots. These movements occur under the influence of phytohormones. Growth independent movements. The nastic movements, independent of the direction of stimulus, have no role in plant growth. Thus, movements like the opening or closing of flowers, sleeping movements or tugger movements are independent of plant growth and are not regulated by phytohormones. Now let us see an experiment which will demonstrate the phototropism in a seedling. Materials required are a healthy seeds, jar, black pepper, a piece of cloth, etc. Now methods are: take a few seeds and soak them in water for a few hours. Throw the water and keep the seeds covered under a wet cloth till they start germinating. Take one of these seedlings and place it in an upright jar. Cover the jar on three sides with black paper and keep the uncovered side near a window facing the sunlight. You will observe that plumule of the seedling bends towards the light while the radical movements away from the light. Now rotate the jar in such a way that the plumule is always from the light and radical is facing towards the light. Now observe again after a few days. The observations which we see are the plumule turns towards the light and the radical turns towards away from the light. Its inference is the seedlings respond to the light which regulates the direction of growth in seedlings.